We all know people who go above and beyond to help others. And being a journalist, amidst all the bad news, I regularly meet people who are doing great things for their communities, often without recognition or financial reward. These are the people amongst us who are selfless enough to go the extra mile. Welcome to Going the Extra Mile, a podcast from ITV which celebrates those people who go out of their way to help their communities and society. I'm Carol Jordan. Today I'm joined by Emma Metcalfe, a founder of a support group for those living with addiction called Hand of Hope NI. From Armagh, Emma is calling for better treatment options and a new residential rehabilitation centre in the city. Thanks so much for joining me today, Emma. So, tell me, first of all, like many of the guests that I talk to, you have your own story about, which has prompted you to be so passionate about this area. Could you mind telling me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, no problem, Carol. A bit about myself and addiction. I never knew I was going to end up an addict. My journey started off as a very casual drinker, normal drinker maybe at a time, and I crossed the line. And I hadn't even realised that I had crossed the line until I had responsibilities, like children. I had responsibilities and I realised there was a problem. It was, I was sort of getting away with it for quite a while, sort of managing it, and then it caught up very very quickly and very sneakily.
And what was the nature of your addiction, Emma?
Alcohol. Mine was alcohol. Alcohol was what I was addicted to.
How bad did it get?
It got to the stage where I had lost complete control. I had no control over the drink. I knew if I took one, I did not know when to stop. I could not physically stop, and it got to the stage where I was drunk, getting out of bed, and I had to have a drink to cope. Not to cope in that sense. I mean, to cope as in I couldn't get out of bed without it because of the withdrawal of it. So I often hear people leave that out, but why would you want to drink the next morning? It's not that I would have wanted one. I knew coming off, the regular social drinker would have a hangover and get up and get on with it. I would wake up and I would feel absolutely suicidal, not knowing if I could stand or be shaken. And the one thing that would have settled all that would have been another drink.
That must have made life really difficult for you. How did you turn it around?
Do you know what, Carol? I actually fought it for a long time because I did not want to be labelled an alcoholic. I thought it was very demoralising, and the family, not that they made me feel like that, but when you're a good family in society and all that there, I didn't know if, it was accepting that. I fought that to the bitter end. The last thing I wanted to admit was I was an alcoholic. I would have said anything else, maybe a wee problem, or drinking like on a Wednesday when I shouldn't be, or maybe postnatal depression I used also. But alcohol literally ruled my life and controlled it. So yeah, without the support of my family and stuff too, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. I know that. I know you'll probably get to that part.
And you are really passionate about the treatment of addiction and what you see as the lack of involvement of those with lived experience. Like, from what you have experienced, what do you think actually works best when it comes to combating addiction?
Combating addiction, honestly, the addict needs to hit rock bottom before anything, before there's any hope of nearly making it and wanting it. You know, there's so many elements to it. It's not about just setting down the drink. I mean, the journey's only beginning when you set it down. And then prior to that, sorry, I'm all over the place, but how do you set it down? So there's all them aspects, and then all this pressure's on, and you don't know if you're coming or going or who you're. So it ended up, I ended up going to my doctor, which you would do, saying, you know, I think I have a problem, and this is important because I went to my doctor, and automatically, being a mother, they wanted to know where my kids were, and all that stuff. Rightly so. But I was put on the back burner. And I struggled with that, and it was another form of rock bottom. It's a good thing they were there and very supportive and all the rest. But that was another downfall, like, and more demoralization, you know, asking for help, and then a whole other can of worms is like, all I'm looking to do is quit drinking, and I don't know why I'm drinking. So there's so much to it, Carol. But back to what you asked me, sorry, did I come away from that?
No, that's fine. So I mean, what you were saying, you've been through that. So do you think people like you with that lived experience are in a better position to help others?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, whenever I finally got into recovery, after hitting a rock bottom, I got into recovery, and I come to see that those people in recovery 100% understood what I was doing, why I was doing it, what the solutions were to overcome it, how I was feeling emotionally and mentally and spiritually comes in it as well. So to overcome it, trusting those with no authority. Anyone with authority, an addict will isolate from, because there's a trust. It takes a lot of trust to accept what you are and take ownership of what you've done and become. And then when you see there's a bit of light, there, and these good people saying, you know, just keep coming, keep showing up, and come with me, and you know, and I'm talking about the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's very rare. You're not allowed to advertise it in any way. It's the attraction of recovery, not the fellowship. It's attraction of recovery. So it always has to be protected, you know, from media. But I am putting it on the media because it is the place that saved my life.
It helped you.
You know, yeah.
And you've also now sort of spent years helping others, and you've started a charity called Hand of Hope NI. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you start that charity and what does it do?
Yeah, so Hand of Hope NI started off, my son's 17 and I have a daughter, she's 11, sorry, I had to think, 17 and 11. And I come to see that my son was starting to say, you know, Mummy, some of my friends was doing this or taking that, and as well as that, I've lost a lot of friends that I knew on a personal level to suicide, and that I could not physically lose another friend for the simple reason the majority of them people were crying out, looking help, and it just wasn't there, Carol.
And they had addiction issues, Emma?
Addiction issues, yeah. And a lot of people put it under mental health and all these other categories. Addiction is addiction. It is a disease, yet it is not. In society, it wouldn't be looked at maybe so much as a disease comparison to other diseases that's life-threatening. But I've lost a lot of friends, and I said that's it. And I broke my own anonymity after 10 years of protecting my anonymity for my own personal life and my family's. And now that's clean out the window. But you know what, Carol, if it's going to save one life, I'm not, I'll keep doing it.
Great. And what does the charity do? Run us through that.
So Hand of Hope started off as me helping people just in my local wee area, the wee village that I come from in Blackwater Town, and my parents are in the village next to me over in the Grange. So I just put a wee message out on Facebook. If anyone's struggling and they don't know where to turn, please don't be afraid to reach out to me and a few of our other fellows that's anonymous. But don't be afraid to reach out. Don't try to do it on your own, and please trust us that we'll never break your anonymity, and we'll help you the best we can. And that message went out in March last year, March or April, and it has literally, Carol, it has just exploded. You know, I don't know, and you know, the youngest that I've helped, Carol, is 14. From in no way or mean is this person from a deprived area, a stable home this person came from. I'm saying person, there's more than one, but this one in particular was it was just horrific. And I said, no, that child's brain hasn't even fully developed. And that's drink and drugs, obviously. They go hand in hand now. It's a massive thing.
What do people who come to you looking for help, what are their main points what is the main thing they're looking for help from? I know there's the addiction, but also there's other support as well that they would need. As you say, it's not one thing, it's a multifaceted problem to deal with. So what are they telling you?
They're telling me, you know, when they take the substance or the drink, and I must point out, a lot of these younger ones now wouldn't necessarily take a drug unless they already had alcohol in their system. And then you've the vapes, and you've all this endless amount of stuff now. So when they come to me or text me, this is the way it has normally happened, sent me a message through WhatsApp or Snapchat or whatever, where they can, and it would be saying stuff like, Emma, can you help me? And you know, I'm saying, well, what is the help that you're looking, or what's the problem, or... And you know, they're saying that they're in the room and they're self-harming because of the side effects of coming off different substances, and they don't know how to cope, and they're taking it on their own, and they're getting it delivered to their over the hedge, or any means of transport or delivery is not a problem, even in rural communities, rural areas. But when they're 16, 17, and they're going through that hormonal stage as well, and they think they know everything as well, you know, that age, and I'm trying to say, you know, it's the danger and the effects of these kids have absolutely no idea.
I think we often have stereotypes when it comes to addiction.
Yeah.
Do you think actually this is something which crosses all boundaries, social boundaries, age, all of that?
Yeah. It's no one is immune to it, like absolutely nobody. Addiction, I don't even know what to say to that. Addiction is addiction. No one sets out to be an addict. I know I certainly did. I didn't want to be drinking in the morning to get up to go to work or go and get my children to school. I have met some very professional people in recovery as well, you know, and even doctors and nurses and lawyers and barristers, there's loads of them people in there as well, just as much as the homeless person on the street. And them two minds can come together and they can relate on one thing. They have one thing in common, and it's the state of mind of an addict. That's it. So one addict talking to another addict gets it, with absolutely no zero tolerance of judgment. None.
And is that why you think it's so important then to have people who've been through addiction themselves in a position where they can help others?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had people say, you don't look like an alcoholic. And I think, why, what does an alcoholic look like? You know, it's not the homeless person. It's not just the homeless person. They might even be alcoholics. That's just a myth that people think, and they're what does an alcoholic look like? Nobody knew for 8 or 9 years till I broke my own anonymity. So it's hard to know, but they're all. It's 1 in 5, Carol. You're talking 1 in 5 or statistics at the minute.
Finally, Emma, what's next for you and the charity?
Next for me and the charity, all the grants are starting to roll in, and hopefully I'm going to apply for everything, Carol, and I will get a facility. Please God, I will get a facility in Armagh. I'm going to get one there, Carol. I'll keep going because every child, parent, aunt, uncle deserves a chance and a second chance at life. And emergency departments is not where you're going to get it at all. So a facility, that is my goal.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining me, Emma. Well, that's it from this edition. If you want a dose of inspiration in your life, you can find us anytime, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on ITVX, just search UTV. From lottery winners who have given millions to charity to those who spend their lives campaigning for others, these are all the people going the extra mile. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye.